Welcome to my channel. Facts about Microsoft. Microsoft was founded on April 4, 1975 by Bill Gates and Paul Allen. The name Microsoft is a blend of microcomputer and software. Microsoft's first product was a version of the basic programming language for the Altair 8800 microcomputers. Microsoft introduced its Windows operating system in 1985 with the Windows 1.0. Microsoft's MS-DOS was dominating operating system for early personal computers. Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard University to co-found Microsoft. In 1976, Bill Gates wrote an open letter to early computer hobbyists complaining about software piracy. Microsoft's first international office was established in Japan in 1978. Microsoft Office, which includes Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, was first released in 1990. Internet Explorer was once the most widely used web browser in the world. Bill Gates was the world's richest person for many years. He became a billionaire at the age of 31. Microsoft Research is a computer's research organization known for its contributions to computer science and technology. Microsoft entered the gaming console market with the introduction of the Xbox in 2001. Microsoft Azure is one of the world's largest cloud computing platforms. In 2016, Microsoft acquired LinkedIn, the professional social networking platform, for $26.2 billion. Microsoft introduced the Surface line of tablets and laptops, becoming a hardware manufacturer. The Start menu, a hallmark of the Windows operating system, was introduced with Windows 95. Microsoft has conducted stock splits multiple times, making its shares more accessible to a broader range of investors. Clippy, the animated paperclip assistants in Microsoft Office, became a widely recognized character. Microsoft AI chatbot Tay was introduced in 2016 but was shut down within 24 hours after Twitter users thought it inappropriate behavior. Microsoft's virtual assistant, Cortana, is named after an AI character in the Halo video game series. Microsoft's HoloLens is an augmented reality headset that combines the physical and digital worlds. Bill Gates is known for being an avid reader and often shares his book recommendations. In 1997, Microsoft invested $150 million in Apple, helping the struggling company stay afloat. Bill Gates wrote a letter to Steve Jobs in 1985, expressing concerns about Windows. Jobs framed the letter and hung it in his office. Microsoft acquired Mojang, the company behind the popular game Minecraft, for $2.5 billion in 2014. Microsoft's DirectX is a collection of APIs for handling multimedia and gaming on Windows. Microsoft got its first by creating a basic interpreter for the Altair 8800 microcomputer as part of the Altair Challenge. The Windows error sound is called the blue screen of death sound, and it's named after the infamous Windows crash screen. Microsoft played a significant role in the personal computer revolution, providing software for IBM-compatible PCs. Microsoft is actively working on quantum computing and has developed the Quantum Development Kit for quantum programming. Microsoft introduced the Bing search engine in 2009 to compete with Google. Microsoft invested $150 million in Apple in 1997 and also settled long-standing patent disputes with the company. Bill Gates stepped down as CEO of Microsoft in 2000. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, established by Bill and Melinda Gates, is one of the world's largest private charitable foundations. .NET is a popular software framework developed by Microsoft for building Windows applications. In addition to Bill Gates and Paul Allen, Steve Ballmer was another early employee who became CEO of Microsoft. Microsoft Garage is a program that encourages employees to work on innovative projects during their spare time. Microsoft supports and contributes to ROS, a popular open source robotics framework. Microsoft's Surface Hub is a digital whiteboard and collaborative workspace for businesses and classrooms. Satya Nadella became Microsoft's CEO in 2014 and has since led the company's transformation. Microsoft released Minecraft Earth, an augmented reality mobile game, as a spin-off of the popular game. Microsoft acquired Skype for $8.5 billion in 2011. Microsoft introduced the Zune music player to compete with the iPod, but it was not as successful. Microsoft introduced the Zune music player to compete with the iPod, but it was not as successful. Microsoft's Mixer streaming service was created to compete with platforms like Twitch, but was later shut down. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.